going to, I was gonna go to this, not that. but I
Yeah,
can
so
do it
you're
now.
free to, and I'll get with your calendar.
Thanks.
Okay, we'll record.
Let's start. Meeting is called to order. Anyone on the Zoom that has a comment? There's nobody here.
Not this afternoon.
So we have no public member to make a comment. Then we need approval of the minutes of September 20th.
Right, I'll make the motion to approve the minutes.
And so the minutes are approved. Okay, very good. Then we go on to today's meeting, which is the review of the 2022 general fund and sheriff claims. And I know you have a comment or a question.
Well, I have one question. I don't see it on here at all. Well, maybe no. I noticed it for the meeting tomorrow night. The agreement for the sale of the mitigation credits. Now it says 43,000. At last meeting, it was 23.
The payable is 23,000 and it's on the second page.
Yes.
We're talking about Buena Vista, right?
Right,
Yes.
right.
See,
What
this
is it?
indicates to me that you really are reading your word.
Well, I am.
I think 5 people
See, it's right,
coming to the
if you
meeting.
turn this page,
Okay.
it's right there.
23, right?
Well, there it is. Well, why in the board packet does it say 43 then?
There was a slip up that I uncovered. I needed some help on FEMA work, kind of
Right,
battling
right.
400,000
Right,
with the environmentalists.
yes.
So I thought, who could help me out is the people who made this foot high environmental assessment report for a lot of money
Mhm.
2-3 years ago.
Right, I saw
So I
that
called her
one.
up and I said, I'm really having trouble with FEMA
Mhm.
and this 400,000 and it's all environmental questions. Could you help me? And she says, sure.
Okay,
So you're gonna help me, Mr. Evans? And I said, whoa, sure, what can I do for you? She goes, you never paid your $43,000 mitigation fee. I said, oh, well, the good news is we took care of that at the board meeting. The check is in the mail, the usual, all right. And she says, that's not possible because you just happened to mention something about 23,000.
right.
And it's not 23, it's 43. And I said, no, it was right on the table with the board and blah, 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 blah. Then I go, oh, wait a minute. That's
It's-
Buena
So
Vista.
they want money now.
This person did Sandy Creek.
Okay, because this is what it says here.
Somehow in the, I tracked it down.
Okay.
And sure enough, Ron finds it somewhere in the Wildan bureaucracy.
Mhm.
I guess they didn't know what to do with it, so it's on somebody's desk. Anyhow.
So we owe an additional 43?
it's
But
the
not
same-
on Buena Vista.
No,
It's
no,
the same exact thing, where if you work in a US waterway,
right.
the amount of disturbance
Yes.
is so much
Yes,
greater.
point
You
oh nine.
have to pay money to mitigate. So
Okay,
the first one I think was 0.4, and
okay,
this is 0.9.
9, right.
And that's the
0.09,
difference in the,
yeah. All right,
but
so,
if you put them side by side, we did it, the
okay,
math adds up, it's the
right.
same
So
price.
we're done with the Buena Vista. Now we owe for the
Sandia Creek.
Sandia Creek, and there's the other one.
Be a big car.
Yes,
Yeah, they're
That's-
connected.
and they're connected, and that's 43
Right.
additional.
Right.
Okay. I was just,
And it's a
'Cause I
San
said-
Luis Ray.
right, because I saw that said Sandia Creek and Via Vaquero, but then this one is Buena Vista, and I'm, okay, that
I
explains it.
figured
All
that
right.
if you weren't reading it closely, you'd have said, boy, they must have made it like a typo where they used the
That's what I
same
thought.
agenda and it was, they forgot to delete it, so they went past.
Okay,
No, it's.
you're right, it's 23.
The other thing is, I think I would make sure you say it's not just Sandia Creek and Via Vaquero.
Right,
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
that also helps explain why the cost is
right.
much more as opposed to just Sandia Creek.
Okay, yeah, I'll make sure
Yeah.
I do that, so.
Anything else on that you wanted to project any questions about?
No, that was the main one.
I see what you're doing there with the, breaking some of it out. And I think it's a good idea, cycle, like the best and best.
Yeah, I'm trying to, without writing a
That's right.
little
That's right.
paragraph.
So
Right.
you can see what they're what they're dealing with, and I think that's a good idea. I see that they're getting a lot of money from us, those lawyers, aren't they?
They sure are.
Okay. Now.
But you know what, with that being said, I know there's, let's see, there's 2 payments to them,
Yes, sir.
but it's for 5 months total. Because they had a glitch where they didn't bill for some
I
months,
see,
and then they all hit right at once. This,
I see.
those are 5 months worth of,
I
so it's not, it's still a lot, but it's
I
not
see.
as bad as
Okay, as it
all
looks.
that, yeah.
Yeah, still getting a lot of money. I
Yeah.
think I see a skid steer tracker. Is that to
Yes.
track where it is or to track in case it gets stolen?
Both.
Right,
Is
yeah.
that a good
Do both.
answer?
Yeah.
I think that's smart to do that. I think we need that.
Yeah.
Well, this is the second time they actually made them bring back tractor we bought 3 years ago,
Yeah.
because we're so close to the border
Yeah,
Yes.
that, if somebody's down at, Quinn or whatever,
Mhm.
sees it drive off and then they
Follows.
go follow it, and, it's gonna be parked somewhere tonight. And it's only 1 hour, and as soon as you get over the border,
Mhm.
the farmers down there will pay
Sure.
the same, pretty close to it, And so I read or heard that, in like San Diego County, you gotta really be careful with, equipment
Where do we keep our skid steer and
at the yard.
where is the yard?
It's
Oh,
kind
you
of,
want-
You take
Well,
Sandy
maybe
Street,
you don't want-
turn right on
Okay,
the other side.
okay, it's
You
over
go
there.
about half a mile
Mhm.
and you'll come to, it's a
driveway.
kind of a driveway, but it's got a marking and it's Sun, SON,
Okay,
Shine Court.
okay,
So they must have been religious,
Yeah,
okay? And then you just turn left and go down that driveway
okay.
and it's on the left.
All right.
And it's, we've got, cameras now,
Good,
within the
good.
last year.
Good.
And so we're powering them with solar.
Mhm, mhm.
And, it's a gate locked gate. And, probably never build, it'll be a while before I take you down
Yeah,
and show you.
yeah.
But all the equipment we own, a lot of it's really old,
Mhm.
but it's lined up. And then there's mounds of dirt,
Mhm.
mounds of like broken asphalt and so
Mhm.
on.
Sure.
A big, roll-off, a bin for trash
Mhm.
and
Okay.
tires and stuff they collect. And then at the very end is the outhouse.
Okay.
that's our prize
That's your
possession.
prize possession, is that out?
And
Yeah.
I'm talking, Jim and I were talking too, we probably are thinking about doing the same thing with the trucks. Putting GPS on them.
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
not a
it's
bad idea.
inexpensive.
Well, this
No,
is,
that-
was $108. That's not
Right.
outrageous. I think that's a
And
good
this is
idea.
a secondary, but both pieces of equipment, that's why the first time I made them bring it back because they wanted the toy in the field and I said not till, because they're built in now,
Mhm.
GPS.
Right.
The problem is you've got to get somebody who really knows how to program
Mhm.
those and they're busy and it takes a while. So, anyway, we store them here until it goes on. But this one, I don't remember, somebody made some remark to me and I said, that doesn't sound good enough. Can we get another? Oh, I know. It's, if they know how to disable them.
Okay, okay.
So I said, but here's how you do it. Let's get one and put it up underneath.
Mhm.
That they won't even know it's there.
Right.
That's a good idea.
Because for the first year or so, we,
Yeah.
be
Oh,
mindful.
I think you need to be very mindful.
Do you have a cam there?
Yeah.
CCTV, okay.
That's good.
And it's solar. But we
Right.
don't have power.
That's good.
Now,
That's a good thing.
the next thing I see on here is annual merit statements.
That's for 2 months from now.
Yeah,
And I should have collected these. I started, I think, in August, but this is
yeah,
Right.
whether, then they'll have to present these at the time.
Okay.
A lot of it is already completed.
right,
Mhm. Yes.
But some is not.
right.
But I thought, step one are these two acceptable?
Mhm.
Or,
Right, I think they are.
and then, they'll finish them up and,
Next month,
Yeah.
and then the merit is in December.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like the guys, perhaps, they may come in with just one project, right? It's something that takes 3 months or something like
Right.
that. So you have to basically bless the project. Say, yeah, that's fundable. And so have at it. And then they do their thing, and then in December, they present it to you.
Right.
And I think the reason why there's only Jessica and myself, because everybody else on staff is new.
New.
So
Right.
it doesn't
Right.
apply this year.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And the other thing is last year, just so you know, there was one person that presented and presented a concept, but not a finished product.
Oh, okay.
And so the product, it needs to be either finished or close to being finished, okay? And so we elected not to provide any merit bonus for that.
Okay, that makes sense.
So they need to have
They need to,
have completed some
Mhm.
portion of it, not just have a concept.
right. No, I agree with that too.
That's right.
I think makes sense.
Okay, next thing is LAIF. And the
0.99?
0.99.
Yeah. I saw that.
Think of that.
Wow.
Can hardly stand it.
Pretty soon you get into a whole new realm on the left side of the
Yes.
decimal point. Huh?
There's the other thing, whenever you guys are ready, I wanted to go over.
Yes.
Finally, it's been a long time since I updated the roadway
So
rehabilitation.
let's
plan.
just do that now since we looked at LAIF.
Yeah.
And there's no other matters of financial concern except the.
No, I just have a few updates at the end
Okay,
Very good.
about other meetings.
all right.
Go ahead.
So I'm not going, rather than go into this in detail unless you want me to, the basic gist of this is projecting what we have in our roadway rehabilitation fund. This would be through February, because we get a big benefit fee payment in the end of January.
Okay,
So this is after Buena Vista, this is after FEMA, this is after the slurry seal. Then you'll see the orange bottom line after
Yeah.
all these things are finished. Of course, it's taking and this is our emergency fund is included in this also. So at the end of February, according to this, we're gonna have just about $2 million in roadway rehabilitation fund. So of course, it's went down, but I was talking with Jim, and if you look at FEMA, I've been kind of recapping everything. We've done $3.4 million worth of work. We stand to easily, we feel confident we're going to take in $2.2 million of that is paid for by FEMA. So the net result of that is it costs us $1.2 million for all of the 58 projects. Right. Right.
all
So
right, so we have 3.4.
we
So
don't,
that's
in
that
work.
1.2 for Via Vaquero, Sandia Creek, and all of the
small
others.
projects.
Okay.
Yep, so that's.
And it's
the whole
costing
thing.
us 1.2. I have it backwards, okay.
Now, that's worst case,
Yeah,
because we've got some pretty big numbers like throughout that 400,000.
yeah,
And then there's still some money that we may be getting.
yes. And so, yes, I put this as at worst case, if we didn't collect any of that money,
Okay.
this is where we stand.
Okay.
And so the only thing, just from years of looking at this and looking at it, I mean, I know we've got a ton of work we're putting out and that we have done. To me, like the next year or two, we really need to start building this back up instead of pushing out more projects.
Right.
Because this is acceptable. I'm not saying
Right.
we're in
Right.
any kind of dire straits, but this has eaten up our whole emergency fund that we had 1.16 million in. So, I mean, that's just my 2 cents anyway.
Yeah, each culvert we lose, just rule of thumb, is $1 million.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And so having two, a bad storm could put us in.
True.
The whole,
True.
Yep.
And now you push it out, it takes 2-3 years, well, 4 years to
Mhm.
get it built out. So at that time, you're generating funds. So this is.
So we'll end up with almost 2 million at the end of all this.
That's.
Yeah, but before that, before this, you know, gotta realize we're putting out $1 million slurry projects.
Right, we
We're
are,
fixing Buena Vista on top of the FEMA. I
right,
mean, we had about 3.7 million in here, so
Okay.
it is,
going down.
yeah, so I'm just, you know, throughout the years, but like I said, we've done a lot of work for
That's right.
this,
So
so.
there's a subset of the emergency fund if you look on the primary,
Mhm.
because primary is basically what the CSD covers.
Right,
Okay, I mean, the other, we cover the others as well, but so that's India Creek,
Mhm.
that's Via Vaquero, that's the Carancho,
Mhm.
and some other streets, right?
Right.
There are 5, okay. So, and that has dropped, that's down to only about 350,000.
Mhm.
And the part of the reality there is that if something bad happens on one of those 5, I mean, like Sandia Creek,
Mhm.
we have to fix it.
Oh,
Like
absolutely.
Buena Vista, we waited a long time to
Mhm.
fix and should have maybe fixed it sooner, but maybe not, who knows? But that could wait, frankly. I don't mean to say that we want to inconvenience people, but reality is it affects a very small percentage of
Mhm.
people in our area. However, something on one of those main roads affects a very large percentage of people, and therefore, you know, we need to address it. And that fund is down to $350,000.
Mhm.
And as you say, if something happens on those streets, it's probably a big deal because they have larger culverts.
You're right.
It's true. Oh.
Yeah.
So the
It's
cost,
Sandia Creek.
that's right. So
Yeah.
the cost is going to be substantially more.
Yeah.
But in any case, so we do need to build it up. It all speaks to getting the gas tax.
That's so important because
right.
as of course everybody knows, I'm not saying anything new. Every year that we go by here in inflation and the
Mhm.
cost of
Oh,
everything, we have less and less that's going to roadway rehab every year.
True.
Right,
I mean, every year it's down to like $695 now,
right,
is how much we have. So
Mhm.
anyway,
right.
Well, no, that's why that gas tax is so important. And this large slurry project will take care of the roads for a while then.
The roads
majority of
are
them.
looking a lot better. We've just about finished, just about addressed. This is the 3rd slurry.
Okay.
And the engineering rule of thumb or whatever,
Mhm.
you add 7 years to the life.
Right.
Now, people think of slurry as when you go down to Home Depot.
No, it's not. It's a thick. It's
really
thick.
thick.
Yeah.
And so it covers of those cracks.
Mhm.
seeping.
And, you know,
Right.
some of them are still covered even after a few years.
Mhm.
And so it gives you a better driving surface.
Sure it
And
does.
what I think is the most important part is you have to restripe and
Put the reflectors on.
put the reflectors on. And for night driving, that's everything.
Well, it's improved tremendously in the last few years. It really has.
Yeah, we've been keeping up, like you said, 3 slurries in a row and now we've got pretty much the whole district is
Mhm.
The
good.
only thing left are the low traveled roads kind of out of the way.
Right,
But
right.
Well,
I will say there is a substantial portion of Sandia Creek that needs a great deal of help.
Yeah.
Maybe slurry isn't the answer for that. I don't know.
That's one of the reasons, is this goes beyond my time, that they keep kicking the can down the road.
Right,
And, you know, one of the issues though, is the better it's repaired and the better it drives, the faster they drive. So, a previous engineering committee had already kind of dealt with that don't make it look too.
I
pretty.
remember that.
Oh, was that, okay?
I remember, well, it's not a new concept. They may have done it more recently, but I do remember that we talked about that. We even talked about a certain type of grading on that, not a macadam surface, but some other surface that would keep the traffic from, it would preserve the road better, but it would also,
Slow the traffic.
well, it wouldn't go as fast,
Mhm.
although some
I
people,
think that's a chip seal.
that's a chip seal, that's exactly it.
Yeah, because the road's more rough.
Okay.
That's right.
And so, you know, the sound when you're driving.
Sure.
And that is less expensive.
And it is what.
That's right.
Yeah. The county did that on Duluth Road
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
did they?
a year ago or something like that.
I mean, we should at least have the engineering committee look at that as an alternative, because it's a lot less expensive too,
Mhm.
substantially less expensive.
Yeah.
So not that they want to do that on any of the roads, but there may be a secondary road where that would improve the movement of vehicles, but be less expensive to deal with.
Not a bad idea.
But as far as looking at these numbers, the whole issue of whether it be an overlay or a chip seal or whatever, I'm not done with it in 5 years.
Right.
I've been basically proposing, painting,
Right,
slurring,
right.
okay?
Yeah.
Because you can't get more than a few miles.
Right.
With
Right.
this $2 million figure.
Right.
And maybe you'll get 4 miles on a chip seal.
Right.
But it's like, until we get some cash, if these numbers go way back up,
Right.
all we've been doing is spending our money on emergencies,
Correct.
fixing those.
True.
And that's taking away your true rehabilitation. And so in the next few years, we're gonna have to, I
Build
think,
that up.
figure out how we're gonna do that.
And the reality is, even with the gas tax, it doesn't solve the problem. We used to have a $21 million problem with roads.
Mhm.
It's probably more now, based
Oh,
on.
yeah.
It's 28 the last I heard.
Yeah.
But that was
That
just
did-
looking at that from a while back,
Yeah, right.
I figured,
Yeah.
yeah.
That didn't count the culverts.
Right,
Right.
it didn't count.
Oh,
really?
Can you imagine? how
We
much-
have 750, give or take.
Uh-huh.
Culverts. And that's from 2 feet in diameter to 7 feet, maybe 6, 8 feet in diameter. I mean,
Oh my
these are
gosh.
huge pipes.
Yeah.
And they were put in 40 to 50 years ago. And the life of that material is
Is-
40 some years.
Right. They're done.
Yeah. So
But there are cheaper ways now to
there are
replace them,
lines.
but it's still
You
expensive.
could do lining,
And we've got a lot of.
You can do lining and copper pipes too.
Yeah, yeah.
They can do that too.
So let's say we don't get the gas tax in several years from now, can we do like we were talking, an assessment district? To say, we gotta do it.
It's more like an HOA.
Yeah.
Those things.
Right.
And we basically borrow over 30 years.
To fix all the
That means
roads,
the people who are
culverts.
here now are
Right.
paying the whole thing.
Mhm.
And then they get a brand new road and culverts in the next.
What's your monthly payment? I know it's on here, but again, I don't remember for this building.
It's $52,000 a year.
$52,000 a year.
And in 2 years, it'll be paid off.
And when you pay that off, that allows us to potentially borrow.
Yeah, have equity.
Have equity in terms of borrowing as well.
That's
So, and if we, at that rate, we could afford it probably, and so you could borrow some money if you had to do something.
That's true. Good thinking.
And as a governmental entity with the property tax being what it is,
Mhm.
you could get a non-secured loan.
Yeah.
I'm guessing probably 5, something, that's not a lot, but 3, 5, 8, something like that.
Mhm.
So if we did have some major disaster that FEMA didn't come in on that time, I think we could do that. Plus the building too, they probably give you 5 times the value, something
Sure.
like 5 million, something that's
Mhm.
secured.
Mhm.
So all is not lost.
No, it's
just,
not, but we just need that gas tax.
Yeah.
And if you have enough time, you could probably look at some type of municipal bond.
Well, that would be an assessment. So it's over 30
30-year
years.
bond.
And,
Mhm.
and
Does that
then
need
you
a
you
vote?
go to the, you
Yeah, it would.
you have to remember the way it's not politics, it's reality. That road's gonna last another 30 to 50 years.
Mhm.
The taxpayers today wanna pay for that? Heck, no.
Mm-mm.
So you
No.
spread it on the
Over
tax
30
bills
years.
over 30 years,
True.
and the people who are living here pay for their.
As long as they're living
They're living,
in that
right.
home. And if they sell it, it goes to the next person.
Right,
That's,
right.
yeah.
But that way, then you get you get a lot further because we would do the job over a couple of years.
Sure.
Maybe 3 and
Right.
work,
Yeah.
okay?
We've had two
Yeah.
assessment districts here previously for
Oh,
other
really?
construction projects, yeah.
In the 90s.
Yeah, in the nineties, and we paid it off, we paid the last one off in like 2013.
Does that
I think.
require a 2/3 majority to do
I'm
that?
not sure. Yeah, technically, yes, but with these new cases coming down,
Mhm.
I'm thinking you could probably get it at 50%.
Simple majority.
Mhm.
If like a group of citizens
Mhm.
led the charge committee for proposition.
Sure,
or
sure.
something like that, and we stayed out of it,
Mhm.
except
we
for
never
like the
stay out of it.
engineering side
Right.
and that. That would then get you 50.
Okay, good.
Could you do that with a sheriff increase too, together? Or
that's-
are
That's
they-
what we're trying.
Well,
I
we're
mean, the
trying.
assessment district and like on the same, they're two separate, they're
You could,
things.
you could. You can have as many propositions as you want, you know, you
Right.
just have to go through the steps.
Okay. Now, Jim, you have some updates.
Oh,
Yeah.
let's see. I mentioned that the gas tax meeting has finished.
Right.
And just for your information, this is the supplemental legal opinion where we hired through BB&K,
Okay.
a former county council person from Orange County who did the road department there. And he's just finishing, first we gave a legal opinion, and it came back from the staff, ripped to shreds, okay? And so he then answered all of their concerns.
Mhm.
And so now the idea is for the committee to take it to the supervisor.
Right.
But then the supervisor said, oh, sure, come on, we'll have a meeting.
Mhm.
And then he said, but all the county staff is gonna be there.
Okay.
So we're not sure that they're gonna take this, lying down.
Mhm.
I thought we were at the point where it was just gonna be the three of them,
Mhm.
Jeffries, and he'd say, okay, here's what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna propose it to the board. I guess we're not there yet.
Really?
So, but we have until May 1st.
Okay.
So I told, because Debbie felt real bad, oh, I could try to change it, but there's a doctor's appointment. No, stop. We've got time. So that's kind of where.
But you feel that Kevin Jeffries will support us?
He said he.
He says he will.
Unless the staff provides some type of significant argument, that would be the issue.
Okay, but my understanding is the county of Riverside has never received gas tax for the roads up here anyway. Is that not correct?
Yes and no.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes and no. There are two components of the gas tax. I mean, Jim knows this better than I do. One is the number, the roads and the assessment on the roads. And then the other are the cars. And that's a
Registered.
registered
Okay.
vehicles. And so that they get money for, the registered vehicles, but not for the roads.
All right.
And also the population, which is not
Population,
high
right.
here, but it's still a factor.
Yes.
So, somewhere in a file on my desk, I've got the numbers, but as I remember it, when you add in the 86 miles of road,
Right.
it raises the county's funding, so let's say 700,000.
Okay.
Okay. But they're already receiving 2 million for the registration,
Right.
vehicle
Mm.
registrations
Okay.
and the population.
Okay.
And for that, you get Duluth Road
Mm.
and Rancho Cal.
Right.
Mhm.
But even if they resurface them every 5 years, which is not, let's say 5,
Mhm.
that means they collected 10 million over that period and put back about 1.5 million or 2.
Mhm.
So that money is being exported to other parts of the county.
Right.
But the committee at the time, Robert's been on it the whole time, but I decided by getting some feedback from my county supervisors
Mhm.
that if you try to touch that 2 million, no deal. But if we're just trying to take new money,
Mhm.
which would come from Sacramento,
Right,
they're willing to talk.
okay, okay.
So the committee felt, let's, get the horse's nose into the barn,
Right, right.
and take that and then we can begin to address the money that's being exported.
Okay.
And there's no reason that we couldn't perhaps do some competitive projects with the county, once we get this going, that, why don't you do a couple overlays for us,
Mhm.
something, but we need to get in the system.
Get into it, yes.
And I think it's gonna be difficult, for a few years. In fact, I took that guy aside up in Monterey at that convention and by accident ran into him and we sat and talked for like half an hour. And he wasn't too favorable in terms of he and I or our staff working well together. You're gonna work for me, you're gonna do it our way. You understand that, don't you? That kind of talk.
Yeah.
Now, we're just sitting in the corner of the hotel ballroom, and there's posturing, right? But I think it's now when you get your next legal opinion, which you'll all see in the next couple of weeks probably.
Okay.
The issues are addressed. It's now about
Doing it. Yeah. Okay.
And I think once, we get, it's time for me to shut up. I've got all the technical stuff done. Time for them to shut up.
Mhm.
And then it's the citizens, through the elected people. And so I think what we're gonna be doing is just that. I'm not gonna say anything. He's not gonna come in, we're gonna have him not say anything. And I think our committee has to say to our elected supervisor, it's time.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do here?
Mhm.
And both staffs will do as told, so what's the decision? And then he has to convince two other board members. And
If he's in favor of it, that
No.
won't be a problem.
No, I don't think that would be a
But
problem.
because he also knows that he needs a level of confidence, and they know he knows that, and so they'll go along with it. It isn't that he's going to have to really work at it. He'll just have to talk to them, and then they'll understand that
Yeah, I
it's the
think
right
so.
thing to do. Yeah.
I think
And
so.
also, we took another step, and that was to get LAFCO to promote this.
Mhm.
So as it stands right now, we're not really asking for it. LAFCO recommended it because they did their decade study that they now have to do to study each government
Right.
and make recommendations on, how to improve efficiency and funding and this and that.
Mhm.
Ours came back 100% efficient with no change. But their recommendation is that the county of Riverside go get this money, this gas tax money.
Good.
And then I think it even said, and it should have been done
Mhm.
43 years ago.
Mhm.
It's just nobody thought about it.
Right.
And then, Jeffries was one member of the 7-member LAFCO board. So there's only 2 supervisors on that board. There's city council members and mayors and people from special districts
Okay.
that make the 7 members. When that issue came up and the executive director gave his staff report and he said, I have no other recommendations for Duluth except that we should request or recommend to the county supervisors that they take this action. So at that point, the chairman said, okay, it's up for discussion. And Jeffries puts his hand up and says, this is my district, I want to speak. He gave the whole report about what we should do. So Mary Ann got up and read, just her little spiel.
Mhm.
And then at that point, Jeffries said, this is my district, I'd like this. And I want to make the motion that we do.
Oh, that's
And
great.
then he spoke for like 3 minutes. He knew it because I know all the details, right?
Mhm.
He wasn't reading from any notes or
He
anything.
knew it all.
He knew.
Mhm. Good.
And then it was a 7-0 vote.
Okay.
So
What's your next update?
Oh, I want, when we finish the meeting, I'm gonna do, or we're looking at doing a few little changes here in the office. So
Maybe actually we should stop the meeting because this is.
I'm finished. This is just,
Okay.
Okay.
yeah.
Why don't we go ahead and
Yeah.
adjourn the meeting? Are we no longer being